Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Utah Outcasts for the 10th of January, 2016. We're chugging along with the second episode of the year, considering how good last week was. I mean, seriously, if you go listen to, after you get done listening to this one, go back and listen to the last show. It was a great fucking episode. Anyway, we're going to stop navel gazing real quick and get on with this week's show. But for any reason, if you want to get in touch with anyone on the show, you could do so by emailing us through mailbag at utahoutcast.com, by text or voicemail at 347-669-3377. But we're also on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube as Utah Outcasts. Duh. Anyway, this show that I look forward to each week is, and every week, is supported by our many fans through patreon.com/Utah Outcasts. There you can choose to donate as little as $1, which will grant you access to the super secret show that we do at the end of each episode. I guess it can't really be that secret if you guys know we're doing it, but which won't be available for the masses out there, all of you guys that don't donate, until a full half year has passed. So that's right. The show goes up on Monday. You'll have to wait another 6 months, and then you'll have to hear the content that we know that you're just dying to hear right now. But we'd like to give our most sincere thanks to Robert, Lee, and Dan, whose continued support each week is going to be responsible for us having our first live show here pretty soon. I haven't locked down a date or a time yet, but it'll for sure be at the Watchtower Cafe in Salt Lake City in the coming weeks. But I have a good friend that runs the place, and if you find yourself going there in the near future, let him know that we sent you. I know you think that we're pandering specifically to those who have given us support, but that's not all. If you don't feel like recurring costs, you can donate via PayPal. Just look for the link on the show post or on the YouTube, wherever you're going to be looking. There's a link somewhere. And we do know that not everyone can afford to share their incomes with us, so don't fret because the show is free for all to download. But however, we do ask that if after you're done listening and if you enjoyed the content, that you leave us a rating on whatever aggregator that you use to get the show through. So for that huge bit of help getting our show recognized, we'll read your review and name out on the air like we're going to do for the next couple of friends of the show. Let me catch my breath. Whew. So anyway, I left my own review on the show but my screen name is Excremento, so people don't know. But even though I say I'm the host and I listen 5 stars, whatever. One person says, Foreman. He says, don't change a thing. As a raised in and currently living in Salt Lake City heresy, it's nice to have a weekly dose of sanity. The discussions are great, particularly when Felicia goes on a tear. I truly miss when she isn't on the show. Sorry, she's not on the show. The highs and lows segment is also a favorite, so thanks for putting in all the effort in bringing us the show. Great review. And then we have another guy that's one of our friends on Podhell who does a show from Turkey. He calls himself Around the World of Whatever. He says, hey guys, it's Anthony from Around the World of Whatever show. I love the show. Keep it up. Every show I have heard, there is many topics that I want to comment on, LOL. I share many of the same views that you do and argue against a few, but hey, that's life. Anyway, keep up the great podcast. And you guys should go check him out. Go to Podhell. He's one of the shows that we feature there. And but finally, to our audience watching us via YouTube, I'd like to personally thank the following folks who have subscribed in the past week. We have Fujimoto. We have Grant Larimer. Hey, Grant. And Needle in a Haystack. Your subscribes help us gain new listeners, and we thank you so much. But if you haven't already done so, give us a thumbs up and a subscribe. I'm going to be doing this for quite a long time, so we need all the patrons we can get. So, for the panel this week, we have Kyle Steenblake joining us once again.
Boo.
And we have a special guest because Felicia decided to not make it tonight. She's up in somewhere doing a vacation, but she's promised not to miss any more episodes this year. We'll see. So we have Jonathan Tyndall joining us, who had a show at one point. I don't think you do one anymore, but I was looking for an emergency guest, and he was the first one to respond. Otherwise, you would have got Dave from that atheist podcast. So, Jonathan, tell us about yourself, man.
I would just like to go out on a limb here and say that is one of the most professional intakes I've heard in quite some time. You did a great job there.
Oh, appreciate it. I got to learn how to breathe. Fuck.
And for all of the fans that actually likes Felicia, I'm sorry. I'm boring.
Well, and you're not going to show your gear on the television. I mean, the show either. So.
Well, for the fans that miss Felicia, do you have a favorite cheese?
Yeah, she's a cheesemonger here in Salt Lake City, so she does love to sling cheese to people, and she loves to talk about it, almost orgasmically sometimes.
Cheese. Did you know that the mammary gland is just a modified sweat gland? So whenever you're eating cheese, if you think about it hard enough, essentially you're eating rotten sweat.
That's okay.
No, I don't like cheese.
I've had some workout shirts that smell that way.
Oh,
I'm sure Felicia is going to be just pleased with me whenever she listens
Yeah,
to this.
it smells like old yogurt. So let's see. And you have me. Hi, I'm X. I'm your host. Apparently, though, certain people don't like to use my name. I was on a show earlier this week. Earlier today. Fuck, not this week. I was on a show earlier today at the Defenestrate Media headquarters, recording The Left Show with Jeff Bell and company. It was a good time. He refused to call me X. And guess what? That's work calling me right now. I'm going to be right back. Okay, so sorry about that. I had a little bit of a fun little thing with work there. That's the fun that you get sometimes with Utah Outcasts. I think the last time I had to do that was when we had Lee George Cade on the show. But anyway, I was talking about Jeff Bell and being on the Left Show. Great fucking time, except that he refused to call me X. And I'm like, why? It's so much easier for you to remember one letter. He's like, well, no, I had a friend that was named this, and I refused that. He changed his name to this legally, and I refused to call him that. And I'm like, all right, man, you can call me Chris. I don't give a shit, but I go by X only because it sticks in people's memory a lot fucking easier than Christopher, you know. And he's like, well, I have the name Jeff. I was born with the name Jeff. I'm like, yeah, your name doesn't have the word Christ front and center in it. And I feel like a weird fucking atheist having Jesus like right in the fucking first part of my name. He's like, oh, good point. I'm like, yeah, it is a good point. Yeah. And it took, I think, who was there with us today? Fuck, I forgot their name. One of the persons that was on the show, she figured out halfway through. She's like, "Oh, I get your name now." I'm like, "Oh, yay! Somebody gets it." I'm like, maybe I shouldn't make it that hard to figure out. But
well, at least mine's a little less awkward than yours is. Jonathan in Hebrew, whenever you translate it, means given by God. But at least I'm not Christ.
Christ,
you know.
Yeah. So the one that carries Christ in his heart. Well, that's weird. Your video froze up there, John. Do we still have him? Kyle, are you still there?
yeah, we do.
Okay.
I'm still here.
That's just a nice little fun.
Nice fun little hiccup there. Sorry.
Yep, and there we go.
There, we're doing video. How about that? So it was really good time doing the show. It was like 2.5 hours. I drank a whole 6-pack while I was there. It was good times. I was hungry as a motherfucker by the time I got out, and I really wanted to stop by and get some Taco Bell, but I didn't. I waited till I got home to get some food. But that's it for me. What have you guys been doing for this last week? Anything fun?
Fun? No, not really. I don't know if I could really call it fun.
What interesting life thing happened this week?
The first science fair of my childhood's educational my children's educational careers.
Fucking hell, they still do those?
Oh yeah.
Great.
Yeah, they do. And yeah, let me tell you how much fun it is doing a science fair project for your kid.
Is it tied to their grade?
In this case, no.
Oh, well then fuck it.
No, it's just an optional sort of. Hey, we're doing science fair. Sign up if you want to do it. Are you sure you want to do it? Yeah. Are you really sure you want to do it? Yeah. Okay, if you sign up, you're doing it.
Like, this takes work,
okay.
Right? You know this, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's been like 3 months of what's happening with science fair. How's
your research going?
Like, oh, it's due next week.
What about you, John?
Now, I was going to ask, is it the same way that it was whenever I was in high school, where it's not really a science fair project?
It's that stupid
it's more
triple
of a
fold
demo thing. Or, you know, let's make a volcano, put some vinegar and
baking soda
Is it still the same thing then, or do you actually have to come up with a hypothesis, proofs, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I don't know how loose they have their formatting.
Science,
but
air quotes.
You know, we told our kid, you know, God damn it, if you're doing a science fair project, you're doing it like full out.
Balls to the wall.
you're coming up with a question, and you're gonna answer that damn question. You're gonna come up with your hypothesis, and you're gonna fucking do this shit.
You're gonna back it up with data, motherfucker.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And every time we talk to her about it, she's like, "Oh, what do you want to do?" It's like, I want to do something about eggs." Okay, well,
what about eggs?
What about them? It's like, whoa, I want to see how they cook. It's like, okay, that's not
It has to do with
like expand on
proteins,
that.
you know.
It's like,
They're
okay, well, I want to see what happens when you put an egg in vinegar. It's like everybody knows what happens when you put an egg in vinegar. That's a bullshit science project. You're not doing that because that's just lazy. Oh, what about if you cook it? Okay, now we're going somewhere.
you want to talk about proteins, like turning into other proteins and becoming longer chains and all that shit. And man, I,
Oh,
I
yeah.
I don't look forward to when my kids bring home the shitty bridge building project they fucking made us do in school. I hated that thing. Ones where you have to
Have
build
you
it with the little pieces of wood, and they bring in that special machine to smash the shit out of it.
Yeah.
have you guys ever taken the engineering challenge where you were talking about eggs and popsicle sticks and that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Engineering your own little cocoon for an egg and see how well made you can make it. You guys ever done that?
I never
Oh,
did
yeah.
one, but I loved watching the looks of disappointment on kids' faces when their shit catastrophically failed.
So I was never upset whenever mine broke.
You're like,
I
huh?
was. It's an egg. Who doesn't like breaking eggs?
Fuck, there's a whole YouTube channel based on that called How to Basic.
Hmm.
Love those videos.
As for anything for me personally, has anything exciting happened? No. We were talking about before the show started, I'm unemployed. So pretty much my days have been taken up with Career Builder, Monster.com, trying to figure out unemployment. Yeah, that's about as
See,
exciting my life is.
I haven't had to look for a job in a long time, but I can just imagine how shit those places are for sources for like finding employment. I mean,
Okay.
have you gotten any solid hits off of them before? Or?
I actually have, but it's because, I'm 38 years old. I've got a lot of experience and a lot of, you know, um,
Yeah, I got you there.
accreditations and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, it's pretty much shit. Uh, the major thing is I have found out that the insurance industry are leeches. That's all they are. It's just leeches.
No,
Well, no, I know that's not really shocking,
no, it's okay.
but, but one of their tactics is I actually, this is one of my first experiences dealing with the insurance industry. What they try to do is bring you in, say, we're going to give you the blessing of Aflac or Geico or Progressive or whatever, and then you're straight commission. So essentially, you're going to go sell us, and we're going to make all the profit, and you're not going to make anything.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
But
shitty. That's horribly shitty.
Hmm.
yeah, I actually started. Whenever anyone would call me from an insurance company, I would ask, "Are you with an insurance company?" Yes. Click.
Man, fucking terrible. So let's go ahead and actually we have one more little bit of quick news that we want to get to before we start the real news. We have the Atheist of Utah Gala coming up on February 27th. Just Google it. That's the easiest way of finding it if you plan on attending. I mean, because there's Facebook shit out there, and it's on their website official too. But since the president is here to explain it herself, we're going to move into news. The first news item that I have up here is a Kentucky woman who was visiting a disabled man in his home last October. The lady asked the man if he believed in God, and the man said no. So the lady became so enraged that she assaulted the man by beating him with his own metal cane until it broke. So a disabled man was beat because he didn't believe in God. That's not where the story ends, though, because she also
goody.
stole his wallet, his cell phone, and his keys before she left. So the guy was forced to crawl to a local gas station to find help. So he was eventually taken to the hospital and treated for his injuries, including a concussion, broken arm, and other bruises and abrasions. I mean, I can only imagine dragging yourself across the fucking concrete to a gas station. How messed up that would make you.
Well, that certainly seems Christ-like to me. Wouldn't
Well-
Mother Teresa try to do the same thing?
And
Well, yeah, I
shit.
mean that is how you find God, through suffering, right?
Kyle, your camera's not showing on your face there. All I'm seeing is a spinny circle.
Me too.
Yay, Skyped.
Enable it. Enable it. God damn
It
it.
is. Oh, no.
Disable and re-enable. Sorry, guys. That's what happens when we do video. Nope, still not showing up. Whatever. So anyway, it might seem a bit interesting that I bring this up only because it happened in October, but she was finally arrested on January 5th. So she spent like
Oh,
3
good.
months on the lam.
Jeez.
So
So she was like what, the affluenza mom?
Oh,
I mean, and this is only like the second case in the last couple of weeks we've heard of somebody doing something horrible to an atheist out there, because there was that other story of the lady that was pregnant getting shot in her eyeball
oh yeah, yeah.
and left like sitting propped up on this lady's couch with a with a goddamn blanket over her face, and the lady said, "Oh, that's a shrine to God. Jesus gave me that. And I did that for God."
That would be the Arizona lady, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe that's
Yeah,
what it was. Yeah,
that
it was
was
Arizona.
yeah, that's the Arizona lady.
Just I'm glad that I can be as out that in the atheist community as I am, but you still have that pestering thought in the back of your head: is this something that could get me killed? Especially in this culture in Utah. I mean, because people may think Utah, you think, oh, Mormons. It's more rednecks than
Yeah, yeah. There's quite a few of those. There's,
you see the guys that have taken over the Oregon Ranch and everything, like, oh, not the ranch, but the bird sanctuary.
yeah.
They're like, yeah, there's a lot of those kind of people here in Utah. A
Well,
lot of
yeah.
them.
And this is for something that I'm going to show you guys, and I guess you guys have the YouTube followers. This is something that I actually wore out in town. I don't know if you guys can see
It says
that.
imaginary friends are for
That's
kids, and it has
nice.
the Ghostbuster slash through no for the cross, the star of whatever the fuck, the Star of David, and the crescent moon with the star in it. So
Yep.
Yeah, I was actually out and about walking with this shirt on, and I was actually, I refused to censor myself because of it, but yeah, I was noticing people, and yeah, it was a little bit scary.
yeah, that's one thing I'll definitely not do is ever like be apologetic for me being an atheist. If anything, reading the new Dave Silverman book is kind of filled me with of a I really should be more out there for the people that aren't out there yet, to show them that like how normal it is. And also because I'm not the one with the problem. You're the one with the imaginary friend.
Yeah. Well, not even necessarily more firebrandish, but just open about it.
Yeah. And I'm not going to apologize for offending people's religion.
Well, you shouldn't.
No. I'm not going to offend for attacking their beliefs. Fuck that. I'm not going to feel sad for that shit anymore. Ooh, excuse me. Drinking a lot of Pabst tonight. Got burps all over the place. Let's see. We have a special pair of stupid. The people are like, this guy poking fun at religious people. That's all this show is. No, we're an atheist show. That's what we do. We have a pair of Christians surviving a house fire because God thinks that they are so special. So Justin and Cynthia Wagner, or Wagner, probably how we say it in America. That's how you English-speaking people say it. It's Wagner in Germany.
It is.
Are about to head to bed on Sunday night in their Trenton Road home when they smelled something burning coming from outside the house. And the guy got up and looked down on his front porch and noticed that the garage he converted into an apartment was engulfed in flames. So he ran outside and tried to start the car that was between the garage and the house to move it out of the way, but he realized the flames were already coming up underneath it. And he said, I told my wife, I said the car is gone. Just get out of there. Don't worry about anything else. Just let the fire department take care of it. So the garage was destroyed, left their Mazda unrecognizable, so how'd they know it was a Mazda? And they did extensive damage to the majority of their two-story home. He said pretty much everything that we own is gone. But then a friend found an unexpected surprise when he was helping the couple clean up on Wednesday morning. In the middle of the ashes was a Bible, opened up to John 3:16, the verse that reads, For God so loved the world that he gave his own begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him shall not perish and have eternal life. So he said, Wagner took that as a clear sign. He says, that tells you right there that God is still here with us. He is still here for us. Kind of missing the point there. Like, he could have stopped the fire. He could have saved your home. He could have saved all this other shit. No, he's just going to let that go ahead and happen to you. But what he's going to do, he's going to leave proof in that book being open to a certain page, which you're saying that it was open to that page.
But if that happens, if he were to actually step in and stop that from happening, we wouldn't have free will now, would we?
Oh, man. Fuck. I hate the free will thing. Because I watched a Mormon video on that earlier this week. Because they call it agency, and you have freedom and you have agency, but everybody conflates the two together. So you have free agency, and the person in the video is like, no. You're like, if God made you do everything that is good, how would you know the difference between the two? Why would you be doing anything else besides good? So he has to test you in these manners, and it's like, if he wants like automatons to worship in the afterlife because we picked the good thing, why doesn't he just make us that way? I don't fucking get it. Well, because he only wants his chosen people. Well, he can make his chosen people. He's a god.
Well, whenever it comes down to the whole question of free will, I always like to go to, well, if you're up in heaven, you still have free will, and inevitably they're going to, the person's going to say yes.
Yeah.
Well, then do I have the free will in heaven to do something bad?
Yeah. Does evil exist in heaven? No. Well, do I have free will? Yes.
Yeah.
So can I do evil in heaven? No. Well, then there's not free will. God damn it. You're a robot.
Well, then it's not heaven, damn it.
Nope. Unless I can get hookers and blow, it's not heaven.
Well, let's not forget that once you go to heaven, everybody's, all their naughty bits are gone,
Fuck
Well, that's
man.
that is definitely not heaven right there.
Not heaven. Nope. Who wants that? I mean, does that mean even include tits? Because, I mean, I kind of like boobs, man.
Well, at least the Muslims don't mind, that they don't have the same thing, At least you get your 72 virgins.
Aloha snack bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a Texas governor who, if you guys might remember, I think this is the same guy when they sent the when they reported this guy in Texas for putting the fucking in God We Trust thing on the back of the car, saying, "Oh, it's the country's logo. It's the logo, slogan, whatever you want to call it." God damn it.
The motto.
The motto. There you go. Apparently, because everybody was up in arms about us firebrand atheists saying, no, you can't do this. No, you can't do this because that's just going to make things even worse. That's going to make shit even worse. Apparently, they're taking it a step further now. They're putting fucking crosses on the back of police cars.
Oh, thank you for illustrating the slippery slope argument so well.
So Greg Abbott, fucking wonderful Texas governor right there, he took over after Rick Perry, is supporting the move.
Of course he is.
Shocking.
Shocking,
Yes.
Texas. Shocking. So he supported the In God We Trust motto, and he's also backing the crosses in Brewster County. The Constitution demands respect for religious expression.
No, it doesn't.
In your own fucking time. It's okay, yeah, freedom from religion, freedom of religion. Great. You know what? If you want to have your own God and all that other shit, don't do it with taxpayer money. It's that simple.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, they're paying for it. They're paying for it out of their own pockets, and they're putting it on their cop cars. Okay, well, that cop car did not come out of their pockets.
Yeah, or on taxpayer time, or taxpayer property.
Oh, hey, you're back.
Or, imagine.
Imagine the camera finally works.
The camera is back. Yeah, it's good. Yeah,
It's good.
it's good.
Oh, man. So the Constitution demands respect for religious expression rather than the hostility towards it. No. No. You do not deserve respect in your religion. We talked about this already.
No, the Constitution is neither hostile nor
neutral.
Accepting. It is completely it is religion ambivalence.
It's like
it does not care.
I care not for these things.
Nothing. No, we have no opinion on religion. Is the U.S. Constitution stands.
And Governor Abbott fully supports Sheriff Dodson's decision to allow his deputies to display the cross on their patrol vehicles. Let me drive around with the fucking instrument of death that their savior went through. Let me drive around like that. That's like the Romans rolling around with fucking like spears on the back of their shields and shit. Well, that doesn't make sense. That'd be. It made me think earlier this week because we still have a lot of billboards up in Utah about, and you people living here in Utah know this, where they have the LDS Church like a Savior is Born special that they have now. I can't wait for it to be on YouTube. I think that might be the next show I do is critiquing these videos because there's a shitload of them. That'd be fun to do.
Well, and they're all really shitty too.
They're terrible. Boy, they're fucking terrible. Some are like almost like slideshows. Like you can almost hear the beep in the background, so you know you need to flip the film over. People of a certain age will remember those.
No, I don't know
No,
what
I
you're
have no
talking
idea
about.
what you're talking about.
Not any clue.
That's like Kodak coming out with their Super 8 this week. And like, what the fuck are you thinking, man? No.
Whenever it comes down to like dealing with sheriffs and the crosses and the God we trust and the national motto and all that kind of stuff, and they love to trot out the Constitution. What I always, it never fails to make me just giggle a little bit inside is they're all good with like saying, the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, but they forget all of the other ones that directly,
Challenge the shit that they're bringing up, yeah.
yeah. But that's not really surprising considering, most religious people are really good at cherry picking.
Well, as I was talking with
A little bit, yeah.
on the show I was on earlier tonight, we were talking about the gun proposals that Obama came out with.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was talking about it, they were saying that like the NRA is coming out against the closing the loophole of the buyer program because it's against Second Amendment rights. I'm like, dude, the Second Amendment has to do with keeping and bearing arms and having a well-regulated militia. People forget about the second part all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say shit about buying and selling rights for a gun. Doesn't say a goddamn thing about that.
Yeah. Vice President Biden actually put out a really, really good video directly addressing that argument. And it really was, anytime, he really just said, anytime you hear anybody say that it's infringing your rights, just ask them how. How is that infringing your rights?
Can you still
at all
buy
in
the gun?
any way?
Yes, you can still buy the gun. Are you mentally ill and you cannot buy the gun? No, I cannot buy the gun. You should not have the gun.
Yes.
It's pretty simple, really.
That would be the established regulation clause that is built into the Second Amendment. Thank you, Founding Fathers, for at least remembering that part.
Thank you for writing the shit in the 8th grade level so people can somewhat understand it nowadays.
Yeah, but that's an 8th grade reading level. Most of the people that are reading this and actually having problems with it, probably you don't even read at that level.
We're getting closer and closer to idiocracy every fucking week. So that's why shows like this are the most important things that you can listen to. We have a final news item that we're going to talk about real quick, and it's lucky that we have John on the show because I wanted to talk about the swarm of earthquakes that have been rattling Oklahoma in the past week. They had the largest one measured in the last week was a 4.8 and struck around midnight Wednesday in a town called Fairview. You guys don't care about that. No damage was reported in a lot of this stuff. But, I mean, 4.8 isn't like, oh my God, the world's going to end, but it's still rather significant.
Yeah, 4.8 happened. 4.8 is, that's not...
Yeah, you don't sleep through that.
No. And in just 2014, they had over 5,000 earthquakes. 5,000. And I don't think they're on any major fault. They're not like San Andreas. They're not like here in Utah where we have you can look at the mountains and see where the fucking plates are,
Mm-hmm.
And 585 of those were magnitude 3 or greater. And so in the previous year, they only had 109. So you have a almost 6-fold increase in these things. And all things considered, what has changed? What's the only thing that's become different in the last couple of years?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Could it be? I don't know. What's that one procedure that they do where they inject shit into the fucking plates and then they extract stuff from underneath it that shouldn't be extracted? What's that called? Oh yeah, fracking.
Yeah. For a point of comparison, Yellowstone, which is essentially more or less an active supervolcano, registers between 1,000 to 3,000 earthquakes annually.
And for Yellowstone, I'm actually stretching right now to kiss my own ass goodbye when that one finally fucking blows.
Hopefully we all should.
What happens, yeah.
that'll be a fun show for a couple seconds.
Be like, oh, before we die of CO2 inhalation, that'll be great.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and speaking of shit,
that we're overdue for that super caldera to blow. So
And so when I think to myself, do I want a beer? Hell yeah, I want a beer. But I don't know. That's more of your forte, John. You did energy stuff for a while, didn't you?
But yeah, just to give a little background for myself, I was in the military beforehand, but after that, I actually did and still am doing a decade-long stint in the oil and gas industry, specifically dealing with hydraulic fracturing, which is fracking.
Yeah.
Most people know what it is. Yeah, whatever you guys want to ask. I don't toe the industry line that says nothing is bad happening here. There are some good sides. There are some bad sides. So,
And it comes to the whole, when you have the libertarian mindset of these people like, oh, the market will make things right. No, you need to have more oversight of these fuckers because, let's see, the state regulators for Oklahoma have ordered the well companies to scale back or halt injection operations because 5,000 fucking earthquakes in 1 year is a lot,
Yeah, it is.
And one of the companies, Pedestal Oil Company, has been ordered to cut the amount of water it's injecting for disposal by 50%. So they're having to scale back quite a bit. And then there's a couple other companies that have been reduced by like 25%.
but see, they're not, whenever they say to reduce the amount of water, that does not mean that they cannot still
slowing.
do. No, it doesn't even mean slowing down. There are other ways to do hydraulic fracturing. Specifically, one of the things that they like to do is use nitrogen gas. You can actually liquefy that, and you can do fracturing.
Jesus.
You can do yeah, you can do it with natural gas, believe it or not, and actually get even more than you
Put
you know.
in,
Even
yeah.
though you're getting more out than you're actually putting in.
So someone should hook a hose all the way from fucking California to wherever these guys are working.
Yeah, where it's constantly
Speaking of
spewing out.
California, this is not. Most people don't actually realize that California actually has a huge oil and gas industry, both onshore and offshore
Oh yeah.
of the coast, and that's freaking scary. I mean, you're actually doing hydraulic fracturing in a place where we know that if we it's going to fall off the freaking the
That was
west
what-
coast of America.
That was the original
Yeah.
Superman movie, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, that
With
was.
Lex Luthor like buying
Yeah.
up all the real estate on the San Andreas Fault.
Yeah, he bought up everything to the east of the San Andreas Fault.
So for me, these energy companies are no better than fucking Lex Luthor. And we're not even talking Gene Hackman Lex Luthor. We're talking just Lex Luthor. Period. I'll get you, Superman.
Well, so now that we broached that, are there any specific questions? Like, is there something you actually want to know about the process? I mean,
Well,
I know
let's make it eighth grade level for everybody that might be listening to it right now. I mean, it involves drilling down into the shale. It's oil shale, isn't it? That they're getting this stuff from.
yes.
And so when they drill down to it, they inject it with various compounds. One of them is water, of course, and then they have, like you said, nitrogen, and they do methane as well.
Right.
But I mean, the extraction process is probably the biggest unknown to me. They put all this shit in there, and do they just wait for it to bubble up and they just take it up the hose, or is there a special process to that as well?
Well, all right. I'm going to have to
Yeah, go ahead and start
go
from
a
the beginning.
few
If you got it. Yeah, go for it.
All right. All right. So you got your drilling rig. It goes down, drills down anywhere from between 7,000 to 15,000 feet down. The shortest or the shallowest well versus the deepest wells. It all depends on the geology. So the drilling rig will actually drill down to that depth depending on what they're trying to get. They may or may not go from a vertical well to a horizontal well. So instead of being up and down, they're going to twist that drill pipe and actually go
All of a sudden,
parallel.
I'm reminded of the Simpsons episode with the Mr. Burns slant drilling operation that he had. Where
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, that's what they're doing. So once they drill down, once they finish with that, they'll come in and they'll put what's called a casing. It's It's just concrete, essentially.
Yeah.
They'll case it down to how, 4 or 5,000 feet, and then the next part is where the fracturing actually happens. They use I'm trying not to.
Various fluids.
Well, I'm trying, but there's one more step. What they actually have to do is they actually have to break the rock way down. They actually have what we call guns. It's sticks of explosives that they'll actually put down, 7 to 15,000 feet down, and they'll actually break the rock with those explosives.
Gee, I wonder why earthquakes are fucking happening.
That just sounds like such a good idea.
Oh, it's far enough down. That's not going to affect anybody. No, no.
So once they do that, now we get into the actual hydraulic fracturing procedure. What they do is and this is the part that I'm more than familiar with, is they have, depending on how big the job is, 15, 2,500 horsepower engines that will actually create hydraulic pressure and widen the gaps, the fractures in the rock. They'll actually spread those apart, and that's the hydraulic part of hydraulic fracturing. So once they've got those cracks open, they'll start pumping down sand, literally sand. We're not done yet. So
how anybody thought this is an okay thing to do? It boggles my imagination.
It works, believe it or not. It may not be the most best thing that you could possibly do, but anyways, they'll put.
How about we just make solar a thing or wind?
Hey, I'm perfectly good with that. I'm perfectly good with that.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah,
we've got the cracks opened up. So now they start pumping the sand down, and they'll go from a finer grit to a more increasing coarse sand. The reason why they do that is, imagine the shell is rock.
Yeah.
Of course. Now, imagine you have a handful of BBs and you have a handful of marbles, and you pour water through the both of them. The one that's not going to have the, what's the right way to explain this? The one that's going to have the least bit of resistance would be your handful of marbles when you're pouring the water through it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the sand represents those marbles. The BBs represent the shell rock itself. So what it allows is the oil and gas to have a more expedient route.
A better conduit to get out then.
Exactly. And that's, in a nutshell, without getting too technical about it, that's what hydraulic fracturing is. It's just making a well more efficient, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating. And it
it
just floors me.
Yeah, it's an amazing process. God, yes.
But let's do it in our populated areas.
Yeah.
Now, going back to what you were talking about with the earthquakes in Oklahoma,
Yeah.
if the listeners are not, if they haven't ever heard of this before, this phenomenon, think of it like this: where there in Oklahoma, where they do a lot of fracturing, they're actually putting lubricant into areas that are under tension. Water is a lubricant.
Yeah.
So what happens when you add a lubricant to a system under stress?
Yeah, when you add the best solvent that there is on the planet,
Yeah.
It's gonna cause slippage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what's slippage in a geological term? Earthquakes.
Yep. So lubricant for every other thing, great. Not in your fucking tectonic plates, man. Not in the crust, thank you very much.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a reason that aquifers are set up a certain way that they are geologically.
Yeah, they said they managed to set themselves up in stable areas. God,
Of
Are they-
highly dense rock,
so are they actually in places? Are they actually doing hydraulic fracturing under aquifers?
Well, that's how you end up with some of the places that have the polluted groundwater and shit nowadays.
That is true, but not at the same time. Essentially, what most people think about is gasland,
Yeah.
where you're lighting tap water on fire.
Yeah.
Again, I don't toe the industry line one way or the other. Sometimes that is what happens. There's leakage that goes into the on the outside of the casing near the top of the well,
Hmm.
which can cause the aquifer to be contaminated with natural gas. Sometimes, though, that same water, even if it's never been anywhere or no one's ever done anything near it, fracturing lines can also have the same thing.
Yeah.
One of the things that and a lot of people don't think about it this way is the on average most aquifers are what 100 foot down, maybe.
Yeah, they're not as deep as we.
Yeah. They're not quite that deep. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're talking like some of the most shallow wells, at least whenever it comes to the horizontal fracturing. Most of those, like I said, they're 7,000 feet down.
Right.
That's probably not what the problem is. If there's going to be a problem, it's going to be higher up with the casing
Hmm.
failing.
To give our locals a representative of that, think about the distance between being in Park City down to fucking like California.
Yeah.
That's a significant
Yeah.
fucking amount of up and down. You may not think 7,000 feet is a lot, sounding like when you're going horizontally, but vertically, that's a big fucking mound, dude.
That's
Yeah. It is.
it's literally miles.
Yeah,
So, but again, like I said, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. I know it happens. For a fact, I know it happens.
so
But again, I'm giving you the straight dope, if you will.
yeah.
Yeah.
The interesting thing to me is that they're going to continue doing it, and their reasoning
Oh, of
behind
course
it
they
is
are, yeah.
as long as it stays within the 4 point whatever range, I think we'll be okay," said the mayor.
Which is perfectly fine if that's the way he wants
That's
to
the way he
deal with
wanted to do it.
his.
That's
Sure.
great,
Sure. Sure.
The thing
But
I'm most worried about is
That's so fucking reckless, though. I just don't
it
understand.
is. And then on top of that, whenever we do have those wells that have that failed casing that allows methane to bleed out
Spew,
without being
yeah.
captured, methane is orders of magnitude worse when it comes to a greenhouse gas.
Yeah,
It doesn't
it's
last as long, but we're talking, literally orders of magnitude worse
Oh,
for
yeah.
greenhouse.
Oh yeah.
Let's go back and watch the old Futurama episode where they try to
Yeah.
combat global warming by dropping fucking ice blocks into the ocean.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a reason. There's a reason that you that they burn excess methane that's coming off some of these wells and refineries instead of just releasing it into the atmosphere.
Yeah, because you burn off the.
You'd rather have the CO2.
You get
and-
water and CO2 and shit busting off of it instead of.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry. That's not what the industry's thinking of whenever they do that. They just don't
Oh,
want
for sure.
explosive gases.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's just a happy coincidence that it's better.
Trust us, John. When we drive from where we're at down to Salt Lake, and Kyle lives a lot fucking closer to it than I do. You
Yeah.
literally get the Blade Runner shit on fire, like
Yeah.
driving down to Salt Lake City. Like there's stacks that are constantly fucking pluming with like fire and shit. And this is just like right off the freeway, the main freeway,
It's
because the
awesome.
refinery
Yeah.
was there first, and they built shit around it afterward. And there's literally neighborhoods around these fucking things.
You should drive through Louisiana on I-10.
Yeah. Yep.
It is exactly that.
It's fucking amazing. Oh man, no wonder we're so short-lived on this fucking planet. I don't care. I got my money. Fuck all y'all. Sorry, Mike.
Let's just shove some explosives down under the
Under
water
the-
supply,
Yeah, that'll be.
and then we'll pump up a whole bunch of shit down there.
Let's see what happens.
It'll be fine, really.
Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville. This is the. It's like fucking jackass. Just imagine people in people on these oil derricks and drills and shit just shouting shit like "yee-hoo" like they do on the fucking Dukes of Hazzard when they're going over jumps and shit, man. Multi-billion-dollar industries. There we go. So we're gonna cut it out here.
Well,
We're gonna go to a break real quick, and we'll be back right here really shortly with the fun with real audio segment. But we'll be right back. It's time for us to go pee and all that fun thing. Anyway, catch you in a second, Utah Outcasts. Okay, so we're back from the break, and unfortunately, John had to leave us there. It's a bit too late for him to stay up any later. So you have just me and Kyle because apparently we're too fucking hardcore for people to hang out this late at night on a Sunday. Even though Kyle's got to get up early as shit for work tomorrow.
Yeah. That's okay.
That's okay. Podcasting, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
If we didn't have children, this would be like an afternoon thing. It'd be like, yeah, let's have drinks, let's have mimosas, and have some brunch, you know.
Oh, God, I could go for some brunch.
It'd be great to have some, like, a real meal while doing a podcast. It'd be awesome. You have to hear us listen to us fucking eat. It'd be funny. So, we're going to move into our real audio, fun with real audio segment, and the first guy that we have up for you is Ben Carson. And
yeah, I can't wait.
I'm going to try to let a lot of these speak a little bit longer than we normally do because I realized last episode we go 20 seconds and then blueberries for 30 minutes and then talk for somebody. And I successfully blueberried the left show today probably about no less than 6 times. It was great. I love taking people off on tangents. This shit's so fun. I go for that nowadays. So, Ben Carson wants to talk to us about gay activists against free speech. And, you know, he's going to equate this to the whole, you know, they're going to try to say that we can't discriminate against them because that's our religious liberty. But if they tell us that we can't do that, that's them saying that they're discriminating us. It's like, dude, do you not fucking understand how this works?
No, he doesn't. He really, honestly, genuinely does not
Presidential
understand.
candidate.
Well, he's running for president. That doesn't mean he's actually a legitimate
for president.
candidate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Why would a brain surgeon who does not have a law background necessarily, and you're not a constitutional scholar, why write a book on the Constitution?
Good question.
Very good question. And I'm going to go ahead and put money down that says he doesn't actually answer the question, but talks about something completely unrelated.
No, he answers the question. Hang on.
The question,
Oh, bullshit.
Because the Constitution was written at an 8th grade level. They specifically wrote it so that the American people could understand it.
Bullshit. Bullshit. They wrote it at the reading level where they were. It was not it was not the average reading level of where everybody was, because a good portion of the population was fucking illiterate.
They thought boiling potatoes would make you ill, or like, no, that's the only way they ate potatoes is by boiling them. Like you had to, they thought that they were poisonous, that you had, if you didn't boil them, it would kill you some way or another.
The reason, if you take the U.S. Constitution and you put it into one of those aggregators that tells you what the reading level is, the reason it comes out at an 8th grade level,
it's an arbitrary fucking assignment for one.
It's mostly arbitrary, but mostly because it's full of short sentences because of the process that it went through. They went through and they arbitrated every single amendment and every single sentence.
Imagine how hot and sweaty it was in that fucking Congress. Oh man. Just go watch 1776. And you just feel the flop sweat on every one of those people's face.
Oh yeah, that was a day and age where filibustering was a real legitimate threat, because it meant everybody had to stay in the room, and they didn't have air conditioning. I don't know if everybody realizes this, but they didn't actually have air conditioning at that point in time.
And they still dressed colonial. So they were like,
yeah. So being
4 layers.
Yeah. So being trapped in a room full of dozens of people in woolen clothes in the middle of summer was not something you took lightly. So
No.
when somebody says, "I have a problem with this one sentence. I want to take these 5 words out," you start thinking real quick about how important those few words are to you.
Well, and also, for the most part, that's what these people did because you
Yeah.
had to travel to DC. Well, it wasn't even DC at the time, whatever you want to fucking call it. They had to travel.
Yes.
They had to
Yeah.
do this because their shit at home was falling apart because they weren't there. You know, it was an actual sacrifice that these guys actually did to be there in the Congress to do this stuff.
Yeah, so they were there and they had a sense of urgency. They had to get shit done, so they went and did it. So every single argument that came up, everybody went, "Okay, yeah, I'm not really very attached to I'm not very attached to that wording. Go ahead and okay, we'll modify this. Sounds good. Okay, perfect. Moving on." So you wind up with kind of fractured sentences.
Yeah. So Ben Carson.
Look at, oh God, fuck yeah. Sorry.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
that wasn't really a blueberry. It was on
No,
top.
it was on topic, but we've got it's a 4-minute video. We're not going to get through the whole thing. Well, maybe we will because we got a pad for time since Felicia's not here. Our blowhard isn't here. We love you, Felicia.
Their liberties were and understand what the restraints on the government were. And, a lot of people will say, oh, you have to be a constitutional scholar to understand this. Well, you look at all the people who claim they are constitutional scholars and look what a mess they've
Thank
created.
you. Absolutely. Include
You mean like our president, who is a constitutional scholar? All these people saying that he's overstepping his fucking bounds are full of shit.
Yeah, no, you don't need to be a constitutional scholar. But
You just have to have
really,
reading comprehension skills.
yeah, it really helps to have not only reading comprehension skills, but a basic understanding of U.S. history.
Yeah.
the Supreme Court.
Yes, especially the Supreme Court, because they need to read the Constitution and see what
Wow.
it says about civil matters and where they should be handled. It says they should be handled at the state level, at the local level, where the
No, it doesn't.
Just falsehood
No, it
after
doesn't.
falsehood after falsehood coming from this guy.
No, it doesn't. The Constitution doesn't say anything about
Civil matters.
civil matters being handled at the state level.
Front runner. Well, actually, he's like third up right now.
Oh no,
maybe
he's
fourth.
he's like way back there now.
He was second. He was fucking second, and then he's like, "Yeah, I'm a creationist."
It wasn't even just that. He went like full on batshit, and everyone went woo.
Whoa! Especially I don't know if you heard. Did you hear the news about him calling out the dumbest kid in
Yeah.
class this week? For those
Yeah.
that might not know, I think it could have been Alabama. I don't know, only because it's funnier that way. He called out in a public school. He's like, "So you guys are in class. Who's the dumbest kid in your class?" And the kids in the class actually pointed out like this one kid, and he could have went about it in a different way. I mean, always you can go about things in a different way, but he was probably doing it to like show to everybody, look, I was a terrible student as well, and look at me, I got to be a brain surgeon. Now I'm running for president. Woohoo! Look at me.
Look at me. I was the dumbest kid in my class too.
And so I heard that he had like a backstage with the kid, and the kid wasn't even upset. That's how dumb he was. He wasn't upset by it.
Yeah.
So let's let him
Yeah.
finish.
over the lawmakers.
For the people, by the people.
You got it.
And let's talk about a few of those. What is your stance, for example, on right to speech? As a minister, it's almost like I feel an undercurrent coming more and more that if you speak the truth in love about a true conviction of Scripture, it's a matter of time, it seems like, before you will be labeled with hate speech.
Right.
Okay, if the speech that you're giving is hate, it is hate speech.
Yeah.
If your scriptures tell you to hate gay people or stone them to death or whatever the fuck these scriptures tell you to do, that is hate speech. I don't care how
Yeah.
true in your heart you know it to be true, and you have a good little buzzing around in your dick hole about this kind of thing. Doesn't matter. If it's against a certain subset of people, no matter how minuscule or massive, it is hate speech.
Yeah. That's kind of one of I love that topic came up while they were talking about the Constitution as well.
It's like shouting fire in a fucking theater. You know, that ends
Yeah.
your First Amendment rights because you could have caused massive harm to somebody. You know.
Yeah. I mean, the same document that essentially more or less says we do not give the smallest amount of fucks about
Your religion.
what your religion is or says because we are stepping back. We are stepping away from that.
I want to start prefacing everything that I say with like as a mundane expression of what I am. As a man, or you know, or like as an IT professional, I think that tampons should be thrown in the garbage and not flushed in the toilet. Be like, yeah, great, yay, hooray! That one thing is completely germane to the next thing. You know.
Yes. As a pastor, I'm afraid they're going to start coming after me for telling people to stone the gays.
As a pastor, I think that people are going to start not listening to the wacko bullshit from 3,000 years ago. Especially because, well, it's not even 3,000, it's like 1,500 years
Yeah.
ago. Or
I
not
have
even
a-
that far. Oh, the fucking King James is only like, what, 400 years old? 500 years old?
Yeah, it's around there somewhere from the Renaissance.
And so
Yeah.
you have that version of the Bible, but,
Mhm.
you know, if you guys ever really want to do any really interesting homework whenever you're listening to this show, go and look back at books that predate the Bible, you know, holy books. And especially stuff that you're going to find in like the Zoroastrians, the Egyptians, and who else am I thinking of here? The people in India. There's a lot of fucking parallels in those holy books
Yeah.
to the stuff that you got in the Old Testament. Gee, I wonder
just
why.
a few.
You know,
Yeah.
could be that somebody was borrowing some shit. Could be.
Kind
I
of,
don't know.
maybe. Let's just take some of these common
Let's use these
myths
common
that
myths
are
and,
traveling around, in an oral tradition and write them down.
You know, because everybody had a flood myth back then. Because the most of humanity was centered around these old ass fucking places that everybody used to live. You know,
That
not so much
frequently
anymore.
flooded because they were by rivers.
Yeah, multiple rivers, and shit was a lot more green and lush back then. Man, okay.
Right. For standing, for example, for a marriage being between a man and a woman.
Absolutely.
I don't give a shit what your opinion is. I honestly don't.
I don't know.
And most gay couples would be like, "Fuck you! If you don't want to don't think we should get married, go fuck yourself." The Supreme Court says otherwise.
Yeah.
They won't even waste their energy anymore. Like we got what we were looking for. We got equal rights.
Mhm.
Go fuck yourself, and they walk away happily, arm in arm, kissing, rubbing each other.
We
Great.
don't care. Say what you want to say, but as long as you don't actually try to infringe upon our rights, we don't care. No one cares.
Be as
Say-
wacky religious as you want to be.
Say whatever you want to say, as long as it is not infringing upon other people's lives. And it's not going to be labeled hate speech unless you are actually directing it at other
Inciting.
people.
Yeah.
Inciting. For example, going and doing this in a public place directed at a group of people.
Man, I don't understand. I don't understand these people sometimes. Fucking hell.
Well, no, it's really basic. It's really, really basic stuff.
Okay, let's move into some more.
The way it works now is they target you and they have all kind of hate speech, ridicule. If there's a way that they can bring action against you, they will do that, try to ruin your life. Look at all the people, who because of their religious convictions and their belief in what the Bible says, have lost their livelihood
It's
and
the
been put
truth.
in jeopardy over the gay marriage issue.
Right.
When in fact,
As if inciting what the Bible. So I love that high inflection that he gave there. You know, people that believe in what the Bible says, like that's an authority somehow. These people honestly believe that every word in the Bible is God breathed, or
I don't know how.
when you could
It
go to
doesn't-
them with the history of their own book, like, dude, look, Council of Trent, Council of Nicaea, they put the books
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
We know this was not written by the apostle. This was written by somebody else that took the story from another apostle's, whatever we want to call it, and they built off of it like, yeah, that didn't quite work for this area, so we're going to change it up a little bit so it sells well in this country. You know,
we know there are parts they specifically looked at and went, this makes no sense. This has nothing to do with what we're doing, so
And
we're just
on-
leaving this out. We're just
and on
scrapping
Tuesdays,
this part.
Kyle and X shall do blueberries.
Blueberries.
Blueberries. So
Blueberries, you say?
blueberries. I think I'm fucking done with Ben Carson. We've been at this for 15 minutes, and he hasn't
really?
gotten anywhere.
Jeez. Well, yeah. Has he gotten close to a point? How many more minutes does he have
There's
left to
there's
finish?
like 2 more minutes in this clip, and if you really want to go watch it, go to Right Wing Blog. They've got it out there. RWW Blog. Just go to YouTube, find it there. Because I honestly am done because he can't. It's exactly like on the fucking debates. He cannot get to a point.
No,
At least Donald Trump is quick to say racist and horrible shit, but he's quick to say it.
How did
the fence that
anybody-
we're building is gonna be beautiful? You know, I'm gonna put my name on it. It's gonna be gold. You know, like great, Don. At least you're saying shit. You know.
Oh, speaking of blueberries, if anybody's really, really interested, Rachel Maddow did a great, absolutely perfect comparison between Donald Trump and George Wallace.
Wow.
And it is amazing. I mean, not even just, she didn't even really so much do a direct parallel between the two, but more, look, here are the campaign speeches from George Wallace. Here are the speeches from Donald Trump. They sound really,
They're about the
really,
same here.
they sound really close. That's good. That's worth looking for and watching if anyone's curious.
So for our next segment here, we're going to jump into my favorite guy from the 700 Club, Pat Robertson, who says this just wonderful sage advice about LGBT people. You know, he's an authority on this. He really should be talking about this kind of thing.
Oh, good. I was curious of what he thought.
I'm actually probably gonna be honestly sad when he's gone. Not because like I'm gonna miss the guy or anything, but who am I gonna have to beat up on? I mean, we've got guys coming in his stead like Theodore Shubat and all these other people that are taking the mantle of world's craziest fucking Christian. I think
There will be people. Don't worry. Don't worry. There are people. There's always more.
I'm gonna start digging for like more crazy Muslim shit because well, that doesn't translate very well on the show because they're probably subtitled videos of people speaking like
True.
Farsi or some shit like that. But
True. And they're not quite as
I don't
as
want people to
deep.
think that I have a specific bent towards the Christian religions. But even then, it's an Abrahamic religion, just like all the other ones are. Maybe I should try to find some crazy Scientology shit. Oh wait, but they don't talk to the public.
No, they don't. You can we can
You don't have any wacko Zoroastrians anymore. You don't have Sikhs that are saying weird shit. You don't have whirling dervishes saying things. God. There's no one else to pick on.
Yeah.
All the Abrahamic religions are the ones causing all the fucking problems in the world.
Well,
right now.
we live in a nation and a state
What kind
dominated
of
by
nation?
these guys. So
We live in a Christian... No, I'm not even gonna do that.
uh,
We live in a Christian nation, a Judeo-Christian nation.
we live in a nation dominated by Christians.
We're only going to include the Jews so we can get their votes because we actually can't wait for Jesus to come back and say, "Fuck you, Jew! I'm going to
Yeah.
kill you with my sword mouth." Yeah,
We
go
could
read
in-
Revelation. There's Jesus with the sword mouth.
You know, we should make a point of that, of seeing if we can find crazy Jewish rabbi rants.
That'd be great. You know what we need to do? We need to actually start a segment on this show where we do something every couple of weeks. It doesn't have to be every week. I mean, the guys from Scathing Atheist have already done like reading the Bible cover to cover, and they're going to do the Quran next. So maybe we'll find something weird, like maybe we'll pick Dianetics and start picking that apart. That'd be interesting. But I bet you other people have done that too.
Well, we could, but
I
then
don't know.
we'd have to actually read
We'd
it.
have to actually pay for it and read it. Maybe we'll just keep doing the low-hanging fruit for you guys. Tell us what you want us to do. Hit us up, mailbag@utahoutcast.com. Let us know what you want us to do because, honestly, we'll do it.
Well, yeah, we'll do it.
We'll
Yeah.
give it a try. We'll give it a milk run. And especially,
Go for
I'd love to see Felicia get fucking pissed about something. That's half the fun of me doing this show is hearing her, like, slamming shit down and downing cups, giant goblets of wine because she's getting so pissed off at the shit that these people are saying. So anyway, Pat Robertson, LGBT people, here we go.
Okay, Luz says, Pat, my daughter was baptized and accepted Jesus as a child, but during the past
But not as an adult.
As a child, yes.
Oh, that meant I fucking didn't even get to the point that I was making earlier. Fuck, I forgot. Sorry. I am bringing something back from first segment and tying it in here finally. We were talking about how driving to Salt Lake, you see all these signs about a savior is born, whatever you want to say. And we were talking about cops and license plate. I mean, not license plate, but crosses on the back of their car. So it finally dawned on me, and I don't know why it hadn't hit my head before this, that these people are essentially salivating at a baby in a fucking crib, like manger, whatever it is, and saying, I can't wait to wash myself in the blood of this little baby. Like, I'm going to have to wait 33 years, but, like, it is the weirdest fucking... I had the weirdest Japanese torture porn view of, like, that kid in a manger. That little kid's like... You get the whole Ricky Bobby thing where it's like, I love little baby Jesus looking up you with his little God eyes and everything. Like, no, you start thinking about it, you're like... People that are in religion, like, I know what fucking happens to you, and I can't wait for it to happen. I can't wait for the Romans to fuck you up, little baby. I can't wait for them to nail you to a fucking piece of wood and call you the king of Jews. And, oh, I can't fucking wait to have your blood wash over me and take away my sin. That's fucking creepy. It is really fucking creepy, the way that the Christians are acting. God, it bugs the shit out of me that these people are like, I love Jesus. I love Jesus so much, I can't wait for him to fucking die. You know, it's like, it's almost like the most metal religion that you could think of, you know?
Almost, but it's not as good as a real, you know... Yeah, it's not even
Even
that
Satanists
good.
aren't even this fucking hardcore about it. They're like,
No.
you know, he just, you know, Satan just, and, you know, this is just jokingly me saying this. Satanists don't actually have a belief in a Satan, like a Satan. But in the figure in the book... He gave us knowledge, and he pointed out shit to God. You know, it's like, yeah,
yes, but specifically knowledge of what?
Go ahead.
Knowledge of good and evil. Oh my! The gift of Satan was to give humanity the knowledge of knowing what is good and bad. Guess where your morality comes from, people?
Eating the fruit.
Your morality comes from a gift from Satan.
Hail Satan!
Yes!
Hail Satan!
Without Satan, you would not know what's good or what's bad.
So anyway, this daughter, they really need to know how to use a comma differently in the way they wrote this, because the way I'm looking at it here, my daughter was baptized and accepted Jesus as a child, comma. Like, no. My daughter was baptized and accepted Jesus, comma, as a child, comma, you know, because it's an aside, you know. The punctuation is there for a fucking reason.
Yes. Well,
they accepted Jesus as a child. That's what reminded me of bathing in baby blood there. So.
I accept Jesus as a child, but as an adult, I'm not convinced.
It's like a fucking Grape Nuts commercial. Oh, I know, it's a shredded wheat commercials. That's what it was. So it's like... You know, the adult in me loves the whole grain wheat that we get, but the kid in me just loves the sugar. They never said that, though.
3 years, she's gay. She'll be 18 in June and says she's moving in with her girlfriend.
Yay, gay people.
Yay, good for you.
You make butterflies happy. Yay.
I believe that she's confused, and I have reminded her of God's promises for her.
What? God's promises for somebody.
Yes, but don't forget, God's promises are conditional.
I was brought up Christian. I don't know what God's promises for me were. I mean, besides, you know, the whole eternal life, if you swear fealty to me, like your whole existence, and don't do bad. Don't do bad. But every time I touch myself, I'd be like, oh God, I touched myself. Oh, I poked my butthole. I shouldn't be doing this. Oh God, I'm going to hell. I thought my dick was broken the first time it, you know.
Oh no,
Weird.
what happened?
What is this? I didn't see. That's what happens when you don't teach your kids about that kind of like sex stuff early enough. Oh God, it's broken. What is this stuff? Ew.
Don't accept this lifestyle because I believe God's word and truth for marriage. I continue to believe and pray for revelation and God's truth over her. How do I have a relationship with her?
Very fucking simple.
Yeah.
You have a relationship with her, and you forget all the bullshit.
You treat this person like a person who happens to be your child.
You know, you always forgive, you always love, and you deal with it. You know, if you don't agree with something your kid is doing, put it to the back of your mind, because you know what? It is their life, not yours. Their life. Because I know it's hard, because I mean, shit, I've got little kids now, so I don't quite know what it's going to be like when the teenage shit happens. But you know, you have to and I feel like I'm doing an okay job of it right now, of, you know, slowly letting the yoke out, you know. Not quite, you know, when kids are like 1 or 2, you have to be around, like, helicoptering all the fucking time, because they will fucking kill themselves.
Yeah.
Now that they're like twice that, it's like, you know, I don't have to watch them as closely as I do. That's how I can edit the show and get it up on Monday, because I'm like, yeah, you guys go ahead and play your iPods, or, you know, whatever you're going to do.
Yeah, go watch your show. You're not going to do any shit. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to stick knives into electrical outlets, because you're smarter than that nowadays. And because I've told you, you will die.
Yeah. It's a bell curve, though.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
I'm lucky to have smarter kids, I guess. I don't know. I'm not comparing my children against yours out there. Great podcasting audience, but
well, no, it's not.
I think they'll have a better chance of survival than most of the the double-digit IQ kids out there.
Yeah. Well, it's not even that. It's there's the we'll just wander into traffic stage.
Yeah.
And then there's the
I realize danger is there.
danger is there, so I'm just going to kind of sit here and do my little safe thing to, wonder
What'll
what's
happen?
really out there kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
it's a bell curve. You've got a brief period of time every like 5 years where you're okay for a few minutes leaving them unattended.
Yeah, I mean, they're always within sight, but like I can actually get showers now and not have to like make sure they're in the room with me. It's amazing. The little freedoms you get back as children grow up. This is your public service announcement, by the way, from the Utah Outcasts. If you don't want to be, don't have kids unless you're ready to sacrifice your personal freedoms for like the next 18 years.
Yeah.
So, she doesn't accept lifestyle. What can I do to have a relationship? Yes, just be with them.
And let her know you love her, and don't ever stop loving her, and let her know that you will be there for her whenever she needs it.
Wait for the but.
But you've got to let her know, too, clearly what you just said. You don't accept the lifestyle. So it's a difficult thing, but I think many young people, you know, they think they're transsexual, and they think they've got to have a sex change operation. They've got to do.
They think.
Of course they think. Yeah.
This
of course.
this asshole doesn't realize you have to be diagnosed with gender dysphoria before you could even start HRT, before you can even like get your first appointment to talk about sexual reassignment.
Yeah, you can't just like walk into a clinic and go, "Yo, hey, doc."
It's amazing. You can and for more apparent I know people are going to cringe when I say this word, but for a more vampant issue of saying misogyny out there, you can go get a vasectomy, no questions asked, the day of. I just learned this week that there's a fucking waiting period to get your tubes tied.
Yes, there is.
There's a fucking waiting period that you have to, you know, check with your husband to make sure it's something you guys want to do. And there's an even longer process for sex change operations.
Yes.
It's a long drawn out process. I'm hoping I'm going to try to talk to Stephanie Guttermson from the Richard Dawkins Foundation to try to get her on the show, because fucking great story that she has, and she's a great trans woman, and I would love to have her on the show, because I think more people out there need to understand this kind of thing. Because I mean, if anything that I saw from the Atheists of Utah Facebook group this last week is any indication, people don't understand what fucking feminism means.
Oh, yeah. Let's not talk about that mess.
Yeah, we're going to save that for another episode.
Yes. Well, I'm actually going to touch on that. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that in our main topic. Let's
last
save that
segment. Yes.
Yeah. So we'll get to that in a minute. Let's let Pat finish talking about how people are just confused and think I just think that women.
God.
octogenarians should not be your
It's
people that give
just-
you advice, unless it's like, well, you don't want to sleep with strange women because you might get the clap. That's about the kind of sage advice you can get from grandpas, you know.
Yeah, well, he couldn't. It doesn't. He can't even really give that level of advice. I don't think he actually knows anybody who is gay or trans or anything. He knows like this small select group of people that are pre-screened.
Oh, speaking of guests, I'm going to go ahead and jump on and talk about. We have a handful of people coming up in the next couple of weeks. Next week, we've got Dustin from the Atheist Nomads. On the 24th, we have Trav from the By Any Means Necessary. And we have Callie Wright, which is another wonderful trans person from the Gaytheist Manifesto. So we've got a lot of fucking guests coming up in the next couple of weeks. Told you 2016 is going to be a good year. So let's let Pat finish his fucking tying his noose.
This, that, and the other. And they don't really know what they're talking about because they're too young to know.
I would wager that these kids that say that they're having gender dysphoria or people that are having that are LGBT have a better fucking understanding of what they're going through, and they have a better understanding of the books that you read than you do yourself, Pat.
Probably, I would think they would understand their
own
own
issues.
emotion, their own issues, their own emotional state, about as well as they understand anything else.
You know, one of
they probably understand it better than they did the whole concept of being baptized as a child.
Yeah. See, and I'm really glad that the generation coming up after ours is the one that has no stigma to mental issues. That has no stigma to people saying I need help. You know, that there's no real big problem with someone saying I'm not a bravado person. I'm not a stoic. I need. That's the biggest thing, is that we have people that are willing to actually rely on the help from others. Not for their whole fucking life, but to get them going, to at least get them out of their hard portions.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So,
I mean,
because my
absolutely,
generation
yeah.
and the ones before ours, I mean, I'm only 30. Fuck, I'll be 36 after this episode comes out. But yeah, happy birthday to me. But anyway, the generations before ours, you're like, buck up, don't be a pussy, be a man. You know, but nowadays it's like,
our generation, that was it. It was sort of
it was on its death throes, but
it was, yeah. We got the, buck up, walk it off. But, if that doesn't work for you, maybe there's something actually wrong with you.
yeah, at least they decided to look into it a little bit.
Yeah.
Speaking of crying like a little bitch, though, I've read a webcomic earlier this week. Sorry, not a bitch as in woman, but Sorry, I had to walk that one back a little bit. I've had a couple of beers, guys. I've had like at least 12 today. There was the webcomic about Chewie and Kylo Ren.
Oh,
I read
God.
earlier this week, and I'm like, oh, God.
No.
Oh. And I'm not going to give spoilers because I did that a couple episodes ago, and I felt really bad about it. But
Don't feel bad.
For like 5 minutes, but if you really cared, you would have seen it by now. Anyway, Robertson, fuck.
And I have a feeling the same thing. There's nothing that says that somebody can't be attracted to the opposite sex. Young girls have crushes, and they have crushes on their teachers, and they have crushes on other girls as well as boys. And that's one of those things that happens. But
did he just implicitly say that that's an okay thing?
Yes, he did.
That same-sex attraction is okay? That's a
Yes, he
thing
did.
that happens?
Yes, he did.
Oh, my God. That's amazing. It's amazing the fucking shit that comes from old people's mouths. I love that.
Well, that's just a thing that happens.
That's just the thing
It's
that
not
happens. But those trans people, though, man.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just shift those goalposts a little bit further down the road, why don't we?
That's okay. Just,
T-Robs.
you guys go ahead and just keep shifting those goalposts until they fall off the edge of the earth.
Wait, the Earth's not flat? Wait, the Earth is flat? Yeah.
It might be. I don't know. The research is inconclusive.
that'll get differentiated as she gets older. But if she gets wrapped up in that lifestyle, she may never get out of it. So all I
I'm not even going to let him finish because I don't want to hear the sound.
No, it doesn't just.
You may never get out of that lifestyle. But you just said there's not a problem with it. So,
Yeah.
let's let Brian Fisher give us the entirety of his argument, because we've only got like 10 minutes left and we really need to wrap it up because
Okay.
we've gone long with this one. So let's let Brian Fisher talk here for a second.
The White House sent out a fact sheet on this, these new gun control regulations, and the White House itself reminded us that current law, I'm reading now from the White House fact sheet, current law prohibits individuals from buying a gun if, because of a mental health issue, they are either a danger to themselves or others, or unable to manage their own affairs. That's where they're getting the Social Security Administration involved. If the Social Security Administration thinks that somebody is unable to manage their own affairs, and who is going to decide that? Some bureaucrat in a cubicle is going to decide whether you and I are able to manage our own affairs. They're going to come and take your guns.
As a bureaucrat in a cubicle, I object.
Mm-mm.
Oh.
Mm-mm.
But if you are a danger to yourselves or to others because of a mental health issue,
You should not have a fucking gun.
Yes,
That's simple.
That's exactly what it is.
Just wait for the denouement. Just wait for him to tie this together.
Yes.
then you denied the right to own a gun.
No.
Wow.
You'll be denied the right to
What is this?
buy a gun.
Yeah. The key word there, buy. You
Mm-hmm.
can still own, you just can't buy a new one.
Mm-hmm.
If you still want a gun, you can ask somebody for one. I'm sure your neighbors have at least 3 or 4 if the numbers are
Pretty sure,
mean anything to me.
Remember that President Obama, what is he always out there saying? What is his mantra? What is a greater threat to the United States than Islam? It is global warming. It is climate change. Climate change, he keeps saying, is a greater threat to America's national security than terrorism.
And he's right.
Yes.
Okay, let him finish.
That is right.
Now, terrorism represents a clear and present danger to the health and safety of others. And he's
You can stop terrorism with
Yes.
bullets. You can't stop climate change with bullets.
Well, I don't know. Have we tried?
Ice bullets in the atmosphere. Fuck you, atmosphere!
is a bigger danger, it's a bigger threat than that. So what that means, if you and I deny that man-caused global warming is anything to worry about, then that's going to make us a danger to others and unfit to own a gun.
Are you fucking
Sure.
kidding me?
Why not?
Okay, let's go.
Sure.
Let's go logical argument here. Guns. Okay, mental let's say mental illness prevents you from owning guns. Premise A. Premise B. Global warming is a threat to everybody. Premise C. If global warming denial is a mental illness, then conclusion, I should not own a gun. He jumped so many fucking fences to get to this point.
You know what? I'm pretty sure he just made a solid argument
He made a.
for him not being allowed to buy any guns.
I don't think this guy needs guns. Nope.
No. No. Yeah. If you're willing to buy that, you probably
if
don't
President-
need them.
If Obama was such the tyrannical leader that everybody's saying that he is, I would love for him just to sign executive statements. Pat Robertson can't have a gun. Brian Fisher can't have a gun. Waste his time instead of doing important shit doing that. But we're gonna get into our last little one here. That was a quick one. We're gonna talk with Glenn Beck real quick.
Can we?
And I mean
please?
real quick because this is like a 3-minute segment, but just listen to the delicious irony of this guy giving away his trade secrets. So let's go.
I'm not saying that it's manufactured, but I'm not saying that either.
In reference to President Obama tearing up when he was talking about the Newtown massacre at the recent press conference that he had. So,
Right.
because he said first graders, and then you can hear the camera shutters going, and then he starts choking up about it because you start thinking about a 7-year-old kid getting fucking gunned down. I don't care who you are. That shit kind of hurts, man.
No,
I got a 7-year-old. I can't imagine her dead on the floor with a fucking bullet wound.
No, I can't. That happened. I came home. I came home from work I was a wreck. I came home in tears. Not because I have any personal connection to
Those kids,
anybody
yeah.
there, to those kids, but because those kids are the same age as mine.
And as I said on the left show earlier today, like, that's the kind of shit that happened in the comic book world that caused
Yeah.
Civil War to happen.
Yeah.
And then what happened with us? Oh shit. Well, let's not do anything. Let's not just not.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what in reference he's talking about here. So here we go.
Because I've never seen him well up like this before, even when he was
bullshit.
talking about somebody who could have been his own child. He's never welled up before.
Fucking boo. Boo for you bringing up Trayvon Martin like that backhandedly.
Absolutely boo, and that's absolute bullshit because yes, he has.
I'm sure he has. Obviously has.
Not quite to this extent, but if you first off, he's a very composed guy.
Yeah.
He really is. He does a good job keeping his shit together.
You have to be stoic as the president, because
Yeah.
unfortunately we live in that world nowadays where you're not allowed to show emotion, you know.
But if you are actually paying attention, and you've actually been paying attention to everything, you would have seen him. He probably hasn't cried before. That's probably, there have probably been no tears on camera at a press conference before.
And that's what the right is having the biggest fucking field
Right.
day about. And that's what
But-
Glenn Beck is going to be discussing here. So
Yeah,
let's let him
but
finish.
he has actually gotten choked up before.
Yeah.
But suddenly, at this crucial moment, where this moment can actually change the course, he cries.
Change. It's acting like it's a fucking landmark thing that the president did. No, he just did shit that 80% of the populace want.
Yeah. He did the shit that everybody wants done
That Congress refuses to
that
do.
Congress refused to do. So he did what he could with the powers
legally.
he had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a crucial moment because this is the point where the tyranny happens. And there was a town hall with Anderson Cooper, where Anderson Cooper brought up the whole, people think this is a part of the plot to steal your guns, and Obama's like, I've been in office 7 years.
Yeah.
I haven't taken anybody's guns.
Yeah.
I've only got a year left. Do you think I should probably get started on this tyranny thing and making myself king? He's like, I don't. I mean, honestly, there's a reason. I mean, not only besides term limits that they set in Congress, but there's a reason you don't want that job for too long. Just
Yeah.
look at every president from when they first start to when they finish.
Yeah. They
They
look
are
a
a
little
fucking wreck, man.
it's just, yeah. Oh, I gotta hand it to him. He's held his shit together pretty well.
Yeah, but he's gotten really gray.
Just a little bit.
I think you have to, though. I think they do it for you style-wise. Anyway, let's let him finish.
And he says that he's been thinking about it a lot. Now, I will tell you that there's a possibility that he actually does care. I hate to make him out to a complete monster.
Wait for the butt.
So he does care. But there is also a possibility that he does care, but also understands the power of a tear at this critical moment. See,
What critical fucking moment? I don't know what these right-wingers are talking about.
Don't know the moment where
Like, yo,
he
can you still
needs-
buy quote unquote assault rifles? Yes.
Well, here's what I'm not understanding about what he's actually saying here. He is at this press conference not asking for public support. He is not asking for a vote. He is not asking for approval.
Yeah.
He is simply
you.
announcing what executive actions he has taken.
if it was something that was going to have to go to a vote or in front of people for them to approve to, I can understand fake crying.
Sure. I
But
can
even then,
understand,
that's
but
fucking diabolical,
yeah.
You have to be a fucking sociopath to do something like that.
Yeah. No, this is where he is talking about, hey, look at this is what I just did, and this is why. And he got choked up. And this is stuff that people already support by a vast majority, according to every poll that's been done. So I don't really think he's needing to do anything to curry favor here.
No.
When I was at Fox, I didn't want to cry. I didn't want to. I kept saying, I would be like, oh, geez. In my head, I would feel it coming on, and I'd be like, oh, God, no. The exact opposite would be going off in his head. If I cry at this press conference, there's a chance I move the country to tears. They see how deeply I mean it. And I can tell a story like nobody's business. I was fascinated by the fact, and I don't know if anybody else saw this, I was fascinated by the fact that he reached up to touch his eye before there was any tears. Did anybody notice that?
Mm-hmm.
He reached up to his eye, and he was like, and I'm really feeling horrible now. And I have to reach up to my eye where there is no tear. And then suddenly that eye would not stop tearing. It was fascinating. And all you have to do is have just a little bit of Vicks or a little bit of onion or anything on your finger. And then you reach up and you touch your eye. That then is underneath your eyelid, and the vapor goes up, and you can't stop crying.
Oh, fuck you, Glenn Beck.
Fuck
Fuck you, entire right wing, for thinking that this is manufactured. Just because you use this shit to get your political leanings the way you want it to be, to get the old people all riled up and saying that this country isn't what it used to be anymore. No, fuck you, because the guy had a real fucking moment of emotion. Oh, man.
That's...
I find it fascinating that Glenn Beck really giving away his trade secrets. So if you just use a little bit of vapor rub, you can cry all you want.
Mm-hmm.
You mean like you do all the goddamn time, professional crier Glenn Beck? Oh, God, just fuck you. I mean, there's nothing more you can say to this. It's just...
Well, that's not what...
Why are they suspicious of a guy getting fucking emotional over kids being slain? I don't know what the disconnect is here. That, like, oh, well, he didn't cry at the people that died in Paris. He didn't cry at Benghazi, but he cried about children being slaughtered. I'm suspicious of this guy. I mean, President Obama could come out and say, I love puppies and I take dumps every day because I'm a person too. No, he doesn't take dumps. I bet you he has a colostomy bag. You know, it's just like...
To even go after the method he's suggesting.
So fucking sick of these people. Just
first off, using those methods to produce tears, it doesn't quite work that way. Not like he's suggesting. That shit hurts, and yes, it makes your eyes water, but it's noticeable. You have to be very, very good at hiding that amount of pain.
Yeah. To
actually get away with that for anything other than, a brief period of time.
Man.
So, yeah, it makes your eyes water, but it does not make you. It doesn't make you cry in that way. And if you actually watch the video of that press conference, it's different. And even at that, you when your eyes start welling up with tears before they start falling out, you feel it coming.
Yeah.
And you have to that's the way your eyes work. Does he have eyes that actually cry real tears?
God forbid,
I mean...
Oh, wait, the delicious irony of an atheist saying that.
I mean, fuck. Why aren't you helping the turtle, Glenn? Fucking replicant.
No, fucking turtle flips on its back. What do you do? Look, Google what is it? Voight-Kampff test. Or is that what it is?
Yeah, something like that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The VK test that you do. Look up just watch fucking Blade Runner. It's one of the best goddamn movies ever made. If you're not a little kid, you'll enjoy the shit out of it.
This guy he's not even, I don't even want to call him the king of manufactured emotion, because he's really shit at manufactured emotion.
Yeah. Also, happy birthday, Roy Batty. Sorry. Oh, wait, happy Inception Day. Sorry. You know what? We're going to go to break because we've gone a little bit long. We're going to talk about feminism. So if you don't want to hear that shit, go ahead and shut it off now. But we will be talking about our highs and lows for the week. So, you might want to just fast forward a little bit through that. But we'll be right back. Utah Outcasts. Okay, so we're back from our second break, and we're here for our final segment of the show. And this is usually the one where we go off on a long-winded rant about something or another that came up during the week. But considering the drama I had to go through with, pausing the show to do some work shit and, having to lose our guest and us going really long in the Fun with Real Audio, we're going to keep this pretty short and succinct. And this is the segment where two guys talk about being feminists.
Let us mansplain something to you.
Let me mansplain something, not to you ladies out there, because you know what feminism is. We're going to mansplain it to the people that don't fucking have a clue about what feminism is, or at least what it is to me, I should say. And I'll kick it off. I've got three little girls. Flora, Fauna, or Merriweather, whatever you want to call them. And right now, I see that the world is not everybody is on equal footing. Okay, there's people that are coming out and be like, well, what rights do women not have that men have? It's not like that, dude. It's not specifically a rights issue.
Not anymore.
It's a how they're treated in the world issue right now, dickholes. Just because you have never had to experience, the whole having to feel like you have to fit a certain body image thing growing up. Oh, well, they show Conan and stuff all the time, blah, 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 blah. Yes, but you also still see fat fucks and, ugly schlubs getting women all the time as well. Donald Trump has a smoking hot wife. But it's because of money, not because of, ideal man image or anything like that. I don't want to get too far into the bushes here, but the fact is that the deck is stacked against women in this country still.
Yeah.
People may argue with me on this, say, well, I don't agree with you there.
That's fine.
I said earlier,
you're allowed to not agree.
I said earlier, you have to go through a 30-day fucking waiting period to have the same sort of sterilization procedure done as that happens on guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's bullshit. That is clear and fucking present truth that there is a male-oriented society in this country. Yes, women can cry and get out of tickets. Big fucking deal. They also have tits. You are going to fall for every kind of little thing that ladies can do to get one over on you, because that's the way you're wired. You're a guy. You don't like to see women in distress. That's great. Are you going to go out and scream matriarchy when they do something like that? No, because you know full well that you're being duped in this kind of thing. You're just trying to be the nice guy. That is a symptom of a fucking world that does not treat men and women the same way. Feminism is a system designed to make it equal footing between men and women. Well, women don't have to register for selective service. If people wanted equal rights, we'd either abolish selective service or we'd make it so women have to do it too.
Right. Well, there is also talk recently of expanding that because of the recent DoD decision to allow
all women into
combat roles. Yeah.
And the Marines have come out in just the last week or so saying that they're going to integrate boot camp. They're the last segregated boot camp that's out there.
Right.
And that's gone, as of the next couple of weeks. And people may disagree with that or whatever. But you know what? Get the fuck over it. When I was at Fort Knox, I had women in my camp. I didn't give a shit about it. We didn't shower together like Starship Troopers. But I still had to learn how to deal with people. And you know what the last fucking thing on my mind when you're looking at a lady wearing BDUs is? Oh, God, I want to fuck her. No, you're thinking, okay, how can we accomplish whatever we need to accomplish?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. Take it over. I've run out of fucking things to say. Feminism is simply, and everybody gives it a hard time because it's the word feminine in there. Everybody else wants to use, I'm a gender egalitarian. Fucking great. We're going for the same goal.
Well, that's great, and even humanism.
Yeah, if you're gonna use that
equality,
term, yeah.
equality all around. That's great.
But there's a word for it already. We
Yeah,
already
there is a
used
word
this.
for it, but feminism is a subsect of that, and it has a specific focus. It is a movement. It is a, I don't even know if I want to call it a philosophy, but for lack of a better word at the moment,
Don't you dare call it a belief system.
I will call it a
Right,
philosophy. It is a philosophy and a movement that has no set structure,
No dogma.
no dogma, and no leadership. There is no organization, there is no leadership. So attacking feminism would be akin to attacking I don't know.
It's hard to fight
Yeah.
a nebulous thing.
It is really hard to
It's fighting terror.
to
There you
fight
go.
that.
But I
Yeah.
don't want to compare the two.
It's an idea. You can attack an idea, but that's not what most people who attack it or even criticize it do.
No.
They are attacking or criticizing or being very critical of specific individuals or specific ideas within the subset. So
what I tried to bring up with the people, because this specifically spurred from a conversation we're having currently on our
yeah,
Facebook group, where everybody's saying that feminism is a religion. And no, first of all, just no.
no, yeah,
And
No.
second of all, I go by the definition, and this is not. We had some asshole go through the Webster dictionary and pick not the first definition for it, but tried calling it out on its like second, third, and fourth. Because words have different meanings to them.
different meanings depending on context, which you can also find in that dictionary, which define the context. But that's okay.
And so the standard definition I have is a movement for equality between the sexes. It's that fucking simple. It really is that simple. And everybody's like, well, what about these crazy feminists out there? I'm like, great, let them be crazy.
Yeah, they're crazy. That doesn't. What about crazy people who have any other set of ideas?
And so when the people brought up the whole, feminism is a religion, I'm like, so people that wanted equal rights for gay, trans, and people of that culture, they're religious as well? No. So you're telling me that Black Lives Matter people are religious of some sort? No. It's the same goddamn thing, people. It's an idea.
Yeah,
It's a wacky fucking idea that, all genders should be equal. We're not saying have things that uniquely are tailored to your gender.
right.
Because as much as I may want to sometimes, I'm never going to pop into Victoria's Secret to find a nice, cute pair of panties. I could. Not going
If you
to.
wanted to,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that's not a store that's meant for me. It's meant for women. And everybody's like, oh, that's sexist. How come there's not a men's store for, like Victor's Secret? Do you realize how fucking stupid you sound saying shit like this?
You know what? If you want that store, you go ahead
Build
and
it.
start that store. Yeah,
See how fucking quick it fails on you.
yeah. Build it. But yeah, no, they're
It's called Fans, or it's called Foot Locker, whatever
Yeah.
you want to call it.
yeah.
It's like, okay, there's sports stores out there, but you don't see me like going, well, I'm offended by all these sports stores out there. It's like, no, it's not my thing. You're allowed to like and not like things. You're allowed to have different opinions.
Right.
But the
right.
minute you think that somebody out there should fucking bend or kowtow to your idea of what something should be, that's when we have a problem.
It is.
How are you going to tell me what I believe and what I think?
We also have this problem of when you approach these things, when you yourself have a conflict between what you think and what everybody else thinks, the first instinct, and it is an instinctual thing, is to think that I'm right, you're wrong. My viewpoints, my opinions, my beliefs are right, and yours are wrong.
See, and that's where that's why we have the biggest fucking problem in this world is that it's polar. Everybody thinks everything is polar.
You really need to. Everybody needs to stop and think about what you are talking about. There is a very good chance that you might be wrong.
And there's a good chance that both of you could be wrong as well.
There's a very good chance that you should be wrong. But if you are in a position where you find yourself arguing against a couple people, even just one person, if you are in an argument with one person, you should very seriously consider that you might be wrong. And if you want to win this argument in any way, you better start thinking about the fact that you might be wrong, because if you can't consider that, you can't win an argument.
Well, and there's the outliers in this conversation that we're having. I would, for people that aren't part of it, go and find Atheist of Utah on Facebook. It's called Atheist of Utah Unofficial. Go join, and we'll put you through the vetting process, whatever it takes. This probably won't be there that long, but anyway, it's like any other conversation you have about people and feminism and everything, is that everybody thinks that when you adopt a label to something, that you automatically have to fall lockstep behind the people that represent that idea in their own way. Everybody thinks that I have to immediately go for Anita Sarkeesian. I disagree with a lot that she says, because I honestly think that she's not a gamer, because she has said multiple times, I'm not a gamer. I don't like video games. Good. Then your opinion doesn't mean anything to me. That's great. I'm not going to say I hate you. I'm not going to send death threats your way or any shit like that. I just disagree with your initial premise. That doesn't mean I have to agree with Gloria Steinem. It doesn't mean I have to agree with the UN speech that Hermione Granger gave. Sorry, Emma Watson gave to the UN. I agreed with 90% of what she had there. I took umbrage with a couple of points. That doesn't mean taking a position of saying that you believe equality between people should be a thing. Doesn't mean that you have to immediately adopt everybody in the fringe. You have to adopt everybody's ideas, and you have to feel like a fucking shitheel if you're a guy. It doesn't mean that. And the quicker people start realizing this shit, the better. Because just because I call myself a feminist doesn't mean I agree that doesn't mean that I hate men. Because how fucking weird would it be to be a guy that belongs to a group that hates myself? No. I just want my kids to grow up and not feel like they have to be homemakers, to feel like they have to strive for the attention of a guy, that they're an incomplete person without a dude in their life.
Right.
You know, to think they can't go into a STEM field. I'm pushing like a motherfucker to have my kids go into STEM.
Right. And it's hard. And yes, we are in a position as a society where that is an option.
Yeah.
Whereas, years ago, that wasn't actually an option.
But I also have people on the other side of it, not the side that's arguing against me, but the people on who I would think to be on my side that are telling me, you shouldn't let your kids play with Monster High dolls. That gives them an unhealthy body image.
Yeah.
They're monster toys.
Monsters. Yeah.
They're toys. It's like Freud said, a cigar is a cigar sometimes, man.
Yeah. Tim Minchin has a fantastic song called "Defense," and it is just one big defense of the gray area that everything has. Not everything fits into a black and white category. It's a terrific song. If you don't know it, go find it.
I mean, we've talked multiple times on the show about sexuality being fluid, attraction being fluid, gender being fluid. We're in a great fucking time in this world where we realize that we don't have to be like the World War II generation where it's either this or that. There's no, column A, column B. You know what? We actually have an infinite amount of choices between A and B nowadays. We have not just integers anymore. We have the fucking decimals in between them.
There is no limit to your choices, and everything has to go through this same process of evaluation and vetting. And you know what? You might be right about one thing, and you might be wrong about another, and you might want to take that possibility into account.
So, and let me bring up the final thing we'll talk about here before we move into our highs and lows for the week or whatever we're going to bring up. Feminism. Noun. The advocacy of women's rights on the ground of political, social, and economic equality to men. That's it. There's no need for anything else there.
Yep.
I want more women to be represented in our government. Am I going to set it so there has to be a quota? If that's the only way we're going to have people that can get elected and that kind of thing, yes. If that's
Sure.
something that needs to be done to have equality, yes. Do I think that economic equality to men, is the pay gap what they say it is, where it's like, if you can hire a man, you have to pay him $1, but if you hire a girl, you have to pay her 77 cents. No, that's not how the fucking pay gap works.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how it works. Every study says that's not how it works.
Mm-hmm.
It's very nuanced, people. It's not something you can just say. And there's people on both sides of the argument where they take their rhetoric and they take their echo chamber shit and they bring it to the public discourse.
Oh, it's cherry picked and echo chambered, and
when both sides. What happens when you combine a high pressure and low pressure system? You get a fucking tornado.
Yeah.
So when you take, like, and I say this only as a joke, men's rights advocates versus like feminazis, and you throw them into a fucking forum together, what happens?
Mm-hmm.
A giant shitstorm happens.
Absolute giant shitstorm.
And meanwhile, there's people in the middle going, wait, calm down. Wait, why are you trying to use this definition? What are you saying?
Yeah.
And then people are like, you're not a feminist. Well, yes, I am. Fuck you for telling me I'm not. God.
Well, the horrible and shitty reason, and the reason we're even talking about this and not just ignoring that storm,
Yeah.
is because both sides, both groups of people are doing a tremendous disservice.
And it's
a huge, tremendous disservice.
And it's making
to
me
the
really
problem.
sad to see people that I hold in higher regard bring themselves down into the muck.
Yeah,
And
they are. And this is why we have public figures and public officials who are coming out and saying things. Well, I'm not a feminist, but I think all the same things feminists are, but I'm not going to associate with that label.
Because unfortunately it's been not completely hijacked, but because there are people of the fringe.
Yeah.
And they don't want to be associated with that.
It's not even that it's been just hijacked, but you have people on the fringe who are engaging in these arguments very publicly sometimes.
Which is why this year I've refused to stop calling myself an agnostic atheist.
Yeah.
And just call myself an atheist.
Yeah.
Why keep the little bit of doubt in there?
Mm-hmm.
That's not to say that I am still agnostic on the belief of a God possibly existing, but one has absolutely fucking nothing to do with the other.
Right. Yeah. I don't believe. Could be wrong. I don't know.
I'm not going to say no, but I'm going to say no in the sense of, having 100% certainty. And we brought this up like the last 3 episodes. 100% certainty.
We are. Yeah.
You don't have that for anything.
No, there's not. There's no 100% certainty for almost anything. I mean, there are certain things that you have 100% certainty for.
Like I could say I've drank 5 beers tonight.
Yeah.
Am I certain of that? No, because there's a couple of drops in each can. So technically 1 beer gone should be an entire empty can.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Gnosticism shit, It's a mind fuck if you let it get to you.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't split so many hairs.
Yep.
And you have to be willing to accept that you might be wrong. And if you can't see how you might be wrong, you are nowhere near understanding the other side of the argument.
And Dan Ellis brings it perfectly back to the point here. I don't let the loudmouth chauvinist feminists define feminism for me any more than I allowed the loudmouth chauvinist atheists define atheism for me.
Mm-hmm.
Should everybody capitulate to their demands? Or should you expose them as the liars and hypocrites who are unworthy of continuing to call themselves feminists while acting in demonstrable ways which run counter to the label that they are using? If a group of loudmouth chauvinists cropped up and started claiming that they were atheists who believed in a divine creator of the universe, would you stop identifying them as an atheist? Or would you point out the problems with their inconsistent views? Fucking well put, game, set, match, Dan Ellis.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Jesus.
Unfortunately, that wasn't the end of the conversation.
No,
because
it fucking kept on going because somebody in particular that I'm not naming names because I don't want to fucking deal with lawsuits and shit. I don't know if it would ever come to that, but Jesus Christ, man.
Given
anyway,
that they're not
we're-
technically public comments, we're
No. Yeah, really. So we're at, God, we went 20 minutes on that. So we're going to go ahead and do our highs and lows for the week, even though I said we're going to be quick about it. Hopefully you didn't skip the whole thing. There's a lot to be learned in there, especially through my drunk ramblings.
a little bit.
Let's see, highs and lows for the week. Fuck, what happened to me that was great this week? Getting on the left show was pretty fucking cool. I don't know if that was the highest part of the week. That was definitely a plus.
It's definitely a plus. It's a decent operation those guys run.
Well, it's always nice to be invited to somebody else's show, even though I had to play a game to get there. And I didn't bring it down with me, but he gave me a little bit of a swag item. Maybe I could have used that as my best, even though it's not, because I don't watch The Big Bang Theory. He gave me a penny bobblehead from the show, and it's signed by all the people that were there. So it was Taylor Hunsaker, it was Ultimate Dan, Ultimate, the hell's his name? God, I'm sorry, man, I forgot your name. Shit. And Jeff was there, and it was me. So I got to sit in the Forrest Shaw chair, so it was really fun.
That's nice.
Let's see, low for the week. Fuck. I don't know. This whole shitstorm about, I'm going to tell you what you believe has really, put a damper on my whole fucking week. And I really wish Felicia was here, because you would have got, another 30 minutes of this.
No, you wouldn't have. We would have had to cut her off.
Yeah, I would have had to turn off the mic for a
this
minute.
would be a cut mic operation, because she would go for hours. And for good reason. She has reason to go off on this.
Yeah.
Same reason my wife went off on this for a good 2.5 hours.
That's the reason why we don't have her on this episode.
Yeah. It's a really hot issue. It really is. And it's a very real issue.
And I never thought I'd be one of the kind of guys to even say something like people mansplaining things to you. That wasn't even a word in my dictionary until a year ago. But then I see people coming into a room where people are saying, this is what I think, this is what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And someone going, no, let me tell you what you're supposed to think it is.
Mm-hmm.
I've been mansplained this week.
Yeah.
And I'm a guy. It's so fucking weird that people think they have to go out on a limb to tell you what you should be thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had that happen to me since I was a kid in church. No. You shouldn't believe that everybody should be taken to heaven. No.
Yeah.
Only the good people are allowed in heaven. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Low for the week. Yeah, that shitty fucking argument that has been going on for a week. And I chimed in. I thought I was writing it to you guys in the Facebook chat that we have, but I accidentally sent it to my wife. It said something like, I hate it when people try to use the non-textbook definition of feminism when they're discussing things. And my wife doesn't give two fucks about the stuff that we talk about on the show. She's not into politics. She doesn't care about social things. She's more worried about, do I have enough money in the bank account to pay bills? And what scrapbooking thing is out this week? Or, are my kids doing okay? That's her worries. I'm the guy that's worried about all the fucking esoteric stuff out there. The stuff that I think is real and clear and present dangers and shit like that. That I'm rallying against and fucking yelling for on podcasts every week. She's like, oh, that's cute. Man.
Nice.
That's it for me, man. What about you?
Well, equally high and low is, I think I talked about it a little bit earlier, but the whole science fair experiments thing. We spent all day on it.
High because it's cool. Low because you're doing all the goddamn work.
High because it's cool, because you have the opportunity to explain this whole process. The process of going, okay, good. You have to ask a question. You have to have a question that you're trying to find an answer to. And then you have to think of a way to test that question. And then you have to think of what you think might happen when you do that test. And then you have to write down, and here's the important part, write all this shit down. And I think I quoted Adam Savage from Mythbusters a couple of times. The difference between goofing off and science is writing it down. That's one of my favorite quotes of all time because I've said it to my kids multiple times because they always want to try shit. It's like, okay, well, if you don't write it down, you're just goofing off. So if you actually want to find something out and remember about it later, write it down.
Because otherwise you end up repeating the same fucking
Yeah,
experiment over and over and over again.
Yeah, because you can't remember what happened. So yeah, we're going over that, and it's the final experiment that my daughter had settled on was answering the question of what is the effect of various household chemicals on eggs when you freeze them, when you cook them, and when you just leave them for a day.
Gross. Gross.
A little bit. But yeah, it's okay, fine. We can do this. It's going to take time, but we can do this. Just pulling teeth throughout the course of the day of, okay, we're not doing this for you. We will help you and guide you and try to remind you what to do every step of the way so you actually can
follow through and
this.
get it done. Yes.
Right, because this is not just, hey, we want to do this for fun. This is schoolwork, so we're helping you do this right. But oh my God, this is terrible, and to the point of, I think about 3/4 of the way through all of this, it's like I don't really want to do this anymore. It's like, no,
nope,
sorry.
you got to see it through now,
No,
kid.
Sorry, we're doing this now. You're already signed up and you're committed and you're doing science fair, so you have to finish this project, and we are not doing it for you.
Nope, I will let you get an F.
And on top of that, I am fucking sick of eggs at this point in time.
No, eggs are great.
Oh, no, I know. I love eggs, but I could go.
You're tired of messing with them. That's what it is.
I could go a full 48 hours now without looking at, seeing, or smelling an egg.
Now, I don't know how many people out in the audience actually do cooking, but raw egg has a certain smell to it.
Yeah.
Yolk has a smell to it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I handled about 24 raw eggs over the course of an afternoon.
Ew.
Yeah.
I crack 5 and I'm like, I'm done. I'm tired of looking at these things. They're gross.
Yeah, so that's kind of a high and low point.
I just thought of a low. I didn't win the fucking lottery this week. Neither did Felicia. She missed her tickets, and I bought mine, but I let them ride through Wednesday, so maybe I'll win the $1.3 billion for all I know. But I know that the odds of that are so catastrophically small. But at the same time, there's part of me that's like, dude, you can't win unless you actually buy a chance to win.
There's that, yeah. Then there's the other part of my brain that goes, the only way to win is to not play.
Yeah, but that's war games. That's tic-tac-toe.
It is war games.
That's Whopper not knowing how to play a game right.
That's war games. That's not the lottery. Lottery is the complete opposite. The only way to win is to play.
Yeah. And so I was just really glad that after
the only way to lose is to play too.
Yeah. I'm just glad that if you don't participate, you don't play. If you don't play, you don't win. So technically, that's de facto loser of all the people in the United States. Now, does that mean that you're a loser in the fact that, you didn't buy anything? I think that's less of a loser than someone that bought $500 worth of tickets, which I was seeing up in Malad, Idaho.
Wow. Really?
No, man, there were people spending so much fucking money on this. I mean, and I bought $20 worth of tickets because I'm at a stage in my life where that doesn't hurt me.
Yeah, no, that is a, if you have that much disposable income, first off, if you have $500 to just blow on lottery tickets, you don't need to win the lottery.
No. And so
if you don't have that, then you shouldn't be playing the lottery.
There were lines around the block from gas stations.
Jesus.
Like 300 people in line. And all I could see when I was watching these people standing in line and everything is like, wow, that's money in education that could be coming to Utah. Look at all this money just leaving the state. Like when I see people buying shit in Evanston, like when it comes to liquor and stuff like that, all I see is money not staying in the state of Utah.
Oh yeah.
Just us in Utah fucking hemorrhaging money
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to the vices of the world, when it comes to the lotto, when it comes to liquor, and when it comes to gambling and shit like that. Like when you look at Wendover, when you see Wendover, you see opulence. And for people that don't know what Wendover is, it literally is a casino town that is on the border of Utah and Nevada.
It is.
Nevada,
It is like 3 casinos.
And there was a place called the State Line Casino. I don't know if it's still there anymore, but quite literally, the parking lot is in Utah, and the very edge of the casino building is on the fucking state line.
Yes, you actually in that one you crossed the state line walking through the lobby.
Yeah, man, and just see money just pouring out of our state going to these places, to other states.
Yep.
But that's okay. We have religion.
That's okay.
That's okay. Mormonism.
Yeah.
Man. God damn it, Utah. Get your shit together. Like, you look at there's 47 states involved with the lotto and the territories. So you're talking like Guam, Puerto Rico, all these other places have the fucking lotto. Not Utah. Nope, can't have that. God damn it. Man.
Nope.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of this episode. Thanks for joining us. Send us an email, mailbag@utahoutcast.com. Hit us up on our voicemail, 347-669-3377. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, whatever you want to do. Seriously, leave us your comments, suggestions, anything that you want to do. We will talk about it on the fucking show. We're glad to have content from people out there listening. If you have a little bit of dollars that you want to give us and you want to get some extra content in return, because we're about to go do the after show, even though we're both tired and it's late as shit. But let me give you a heads up about what this episode is that you might want to listen to. It's Alex Jones talking to David Icke. It's a conspiracy theorist talking to a fucking sci-fi conspiracy theorist. It is going to be orders of magnitude anal prolapsing of people talking about stuff that really, you want to talk about echo chamber. It's one guy saying, government's coming to get us. Government's made of reptiles. Yeah, but those reptile governments are going to come get us. Yes, but those reptiles are going to get our governments. It's like, it gets really fucking in-depth here pretty quick. Because I've watched a little bit of it, and if you've never seen David Icke, he's a guy that has like a perpetual surprised look on his face. He looks like a British cholo. He's got the penciled in eyebrows and shit like that. He's a fucking weirdo. Go Google him. But anyway, that's it for the show for this week. Thanks for John for coming out for the short segment that he could make us here on. Felicia will be back next week, and we're going to hold her to it. And we're going to start doing live shows here in the next couple of weeks or so, as soon as I get all the equipment we need and we can do a milk run, because I've already got the okay to have everybody over to the house.
Yay.
So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, thanks for coming out. Thanks for listening to us. Give us thumbs up, whatever just support us any way you can. That's fucking great. We do this shit because we love doing it, but it's good to hear your guys' input as well. Anyway, you guys have a good week, and we'll catch you again next week with a new episode. Until then, you're welcome.
Good night, everybody, and bon nuit.
There you go. See you guys.